All New York Giant fans are sitting there right now with their beer spilled all over the floor, thinking to themselves, as we fall to the Dallas Cowboys, as we get kicked out 40-37 in a topsy-turvy game that if you watched it, it was a good, fun game to watch for the New York Football Giants. They were competitive. You had a turn back the clock game for Russell Wilson, 30 out of 41, 3 touchdowns and interceptions, but 450 yards. It was one of those games that Russell Wilson looked like the 24-year Russell Wilson. Just last week, a lot of Giant fans wanted to dump this guy. Well, you drop 450 in the loss. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to break down about this game because it's the fundamental failure of the defense. And let's be 1,000% honest. The running game only produced 84 yards. The passing game produced 422. It was the passing game itself. It was Russell Wilson with his 9 receptions for 167 yards to Malik Neighbors. It was the 8 receptions for 142 to Wan'Dale Robinson. It was their ability to basically attack a depleted secondary over in Dallas, and that soft zone shit. I did a show yesterday. And I forgot to tell everyone I was going to be on there, and I forgot to tell everyone I was going to do it. It was called it's the Landlord of Atlanta, and he's a Cowboy content creator. And I had the Giants win in 27-21, so make sure you go check it out. But I also said I worried on both ends with these secondaries that these two guys, Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson, if faced with a zone and not faced with any type of consistent rush, they were going to just pick each other apart. And that's literally what they did. I mean, you have to take a look at Dak Prescott, 38 of 52 for 361, 2 touchdowns and an interception. They did establish a running game, though. Williams had 18 carries for 97 yards, 28 total carries for 135 for 4.8 and 2 touchdowns. How we gave up 135 yards rushing to the Dallas Cowboys, where they got Booby Sanders, which, of course, that's Miles Sanders. You got Turbin, and you got Williams. And you still had Dak Prescott chipping in 17 yards. How is that possible? Literally, how is that possible for our vaunted defensive line, which is supposed to be the stopper, is supposed to be the drive killer? Well, we had 3 sacks. A lot of the sacks came early on. We had a big no-show, really, for Abdul Carter. You're going to talk about the one quarterback hit, but for a guy that is supposed to be this difference maker, this guy that is going to be so special, it's only 2 games into his career, and I don't see it. And I've said it before, you don't take a guy at 3 that's going to be a situational pass rusher. And right now, to me, that's what Abdul Carter is, because he gets lost in the sauce when you go up against these bigger defensive linemen offensive linemen who understand, how you negate the speed rush, you push it to the outside. You know how you negate the speed rush when they cut it inside, you push it into your big tackles and your big guards. This secondary is Swiss cheese. It is. Everyone's in love with Drew Phillips, and I keep trying to explain the Drew Phillips phenomenon to people. Yeah, he makes a lot of tackles, but the problem is this. I keep saying this over and over again. While he makes a lot of tackles, he gives up a lot of yards and a lot of completions. Last year, they completed 75% of their passes against them. Week 1, they completed 75%. And I can't wait to see what the exact numbers are for this game. Paulson Adebo, yeah, I love how these guys made 13 and 11 total tackles, but the problem is you gave up 38 receptions, so that means you're not doing anything but stopping them after they make the tackle. The idea of a corner is to literally prevent them from making tackles. For catching the ball. I'm trying not to be upset about this, but that is what your whole job as a corner. I don't care if you're a nickel. I don't care if you're a safety. I don't care if you're a corner. Your whole job is to prevent the opponent from catching the ball. On the stream today, we talked about how Deion Sanders, I think his top tackle season was like 62. Then it was like 38, 30, 25, 30, because of the fact that he prevented people from catching the ball. And if you prevent the people from catching the ball, you know what happens? Shockingly, you don't have to make the tackle, and you don't have to worry about the yards. Giant offensive line played well enough. They only gave up 2 sacks. Russell Wilson had time to look deep which is what we wanted him to do. Russell Wilson, like I said, Russell Wilson, I kept trying to, everyone that was saying, you got to put Russell Wilson in, you got to put Russell Wilson in. That is the biggest bunch of bullshit. I mean, I'm sorry, you got to put Jackson Dart in. I can't even talk today. I'm so mad. Got to put Jackson Dart. That was the biggest amount of bullshit that I ever saw because of the fact that I keep telling people, I'm not a Russell Wilson fan, but Russell Wilson is a professional quarterback. And if you give him time and you give him a soft zone, he can pick it apart, which is what he did versus Dallas. I'm not sure he's going to do that against Kansas City, but that's what he did versus Dallas. The underusage of Tyrone Tracy, I'm finding a little bit more befuddling. Guy only had 5 carries for 15 yards. You gave the ball more to Cam Scatterbo, and most of Cam Scatterbo's yards came on. If you take out that 24-yard run, he averaged less than 2 yards a carry, and that 24-yard run was more predicated on the fact that Dallas was more concentrating on Jackson Dart because they set up that play earlier in the game with Russell Wilson, and then they had the same type of play. Looks like Dallas recognized it, and what happened? Jackson Dart handed the ball off. There was a huge opening. I know people are probably a little excited that Jackson Dart got into the game. I'm not. You have a rhythm passer in Russell Wilson who's throwing for over 450 yards, and you're breaking his rhythm by putting in Jackson Dart. The monumental stupidity of that at times was more troubling to me than anything else. You have a guy that is ripping apart the Dallas defense. There was 41 points scored in the fourth quarter. You got a guy moving the ball down the field all game long. He put up 16 points going into, within the third quarter, and you're just going to say, hey, let's put Jackson Dart in. Yeah, that's a good idea to break up the rhythm passer. I keep telling people this over and over again. This Giant defense, as much as they want to extol the virtues of the defensive line, is not good. Your linebackers are not good. You still gave up 135 yards on 28 carries to Dallas. Dallas does not have a running game. You got Booby Miles Sanders in there who went for that touchdown, that 6-yard touchdown. Williams, you gave up 97 yards on 18 carries and another touchdown. And then you go to the fact that your secondary is extremely porous. I'm having concerns about Paulson Adebo and Holland. I'm having concerns about Drew Phillips. Yeah, he had an interception, but it doesn't matter if you continuously give up big yards and big chunks of yards. When you're relying on Dane Belton at times in the secondary, bad things are going to happen. And when you cannot get to a quarterback, and I keep telling people this over and over and over again, if you cannot generate a rush and get to the quarterback and you're playing this soft shit Shane Bowen zone, you are going to get demolished. I see it week after week. I watched it in training camp where I sat there and saw Giant receivers taking huge chunks of yards in the zone. I even did a video that I said, I am definitely concerned about this Shane Bowen zone because I don't think our wide receivers outside of Neighbors is that good, and you're sitting guys just getting these huge chunks of yards. We need to, listen, you have, and Banks, oh dear Lord. Oh, Banks, Deontay Banks. Where have you gone, Deontay Banks? I would like to find you. I would like to see you. I don't want to hear anyone tell me that the secondary played well. I don't want to hear anyone tell me that because when you give up 361 yards on 38 of 52, you did not play well. I'm sorry, Dak Prescott was sacked 3 times. The offense showed, but like I said, I am a little concerned. I'm sorry, I get backtracked here. I'm going to sidetrack. I'm a little concerned with Tyrone Tracy, though. The lack of usage. 5 carries for 15 yards. I'm still concerned about the lack of production in the running game outside of what we would refer to as some trickery. And that trickery, of course, like I said, that Cam Scatterbo 24-yard run was a trick play. And I give Cam Scatterbo credit. The guy's got some nice soft hands. And he could be a player in this league. But you can't give him 11 carries where where out of 10 of them, he only averages 2.5 yards. When you have this, what you thought was going to be a bell cow back in Tyrone Tracy, and then you start Devin Singletary, and then you give him 1 carry for 4 yards. Theo Johnson was a no-show in the second half again because Dallas went into halftime, figured out how to shut down the tight end. Darius Slayton did have 2 receptions for 60 yards, which was nice. Tyrone Tracy did get involved in the pass game with 4 receptions for 36 yards. This team is an enigma wrapped in a riddle. I almost died because I had Joe Judge flashbacks because of the fact, and again, also they did kick a 64-yard field goal, but you know what? That doesn't matter how the distance is. The fucking ball went in. But I have to laugh because I had Joe Judge flashbacks because Brian Dable tried to challenge a player that wasn't challengeable. Can someone explain that one to me? How he's challenging plays once again that aren't challengeable? It's Joe Judge written all over. Here's my thing. We all know this is a lost season. We all know, but I'm just happy that the Giants played well enough. That the Giants literally had the ability to stay in this game, to keep coming back. You gotta give Russell Wilson, 100% credit for that, because Russell Wilson was the man in this game. He is the guy that kept the New York Football Giants in this game. And that's all there is to it. You cannot tell me anything else. He is the one that kept the Giants in this game, Russell Wilson. No matter what the defense tried to do to make us cry, Russell Wilson did what he had to do. Big props to Russell. Big props to Wandale Robinson. Big props to Malik Neighbors. Fire Shane Bowen. I can't wait for the stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Monday. Stay tuned for that because that's going to be fun. And as always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and I'm out of here.